side you're not even on yet.
Okay. Do I do that? Present to everyone. You can? And then I minimize this, right? And I minimize that, right? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't want to minimize that because my screen isn't on there. Can you see that?
It's just a little delay.
Easy. What's the screen? Oh, yay. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 So I'll wait 2 minutes. Thank God I'm getting this over with. Thank you. Thank you. The moderator, you just sit there and answer questions. I'm trying next one. But you type it, you don't talk. Not even Bonnie. That one girl. And mine just popped up. And then at the end, like, if nobody comments, we just sit. Or do I have to keep talking? No, you're like, oh, I gotta post that link. So 3 to 5 minutes. Then we just sit. So we're only at 25. I'm done. 4:25, I'm done. Oh, I have it here. Now we have time for questions. Fill out the survey link provided to get you credit. No, I don't know. Okay. Good afternoon. I am Pam Gatton, and I will be leading this webinar on fun, fast, formative assessments. This is my first ever time to lead a webinar, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited to share some fun ideas with you for formative assessment. I teach 6th grade honors and on-level English at Coyle Middle School. My Twitter handle is there, at Pam Gatton. I'd love it if you follow me. The moderator for today is Jennifer Hashert. She is the librarian at Sellers University. You also see her Twitter handle at Jen Hashard. As far as technology goes, they wanted us to share a little bit about the technology that we have at our school. At Coyle, teachers have access to one iPad card, two Chromebook cards, two laptop cards, and three labs. I usually have the iPad card on Mondays and a Chromebook card on Wednesdays. I do have at least 3/4 of my students that have their own devices, so I try to do activities that they can use on the days I don't have the school devices. So I like to throw up a Kahoot or several of the formative assessments we're about to show you. I am in the one-to-one pilot program, so I'm excited for the time when we'll have a cart of devices in our classroom to use every day. One of the things that the technology people wanted us to share was kind of what formative assessment is. So I did some research online and I found an article by Connie M. Moss and Susan M. Brookhart, where they said that formative assessment is defined as a philosophy of teaching and learning in which the purpose of assessing is to inform learning, not merely to audit it. The formative assessment process is a fundamental reframing of the work teachers and students do day to day and minute by minute in the classroom. And that's from the book Advancing Formative Assessment in Every Classroom by Connie M. Moss and Susan M. Brookhart. So some things that those authors listed that formative assessment accomplishes: focus on learning goals, take stock of where current work is in relation to the goal, take action to move closer to the goal. And these 3 items before were accomplished on paper. Now we can accomplish all of those goals digitally, which is so much more fun for the students and a lot less time consuming grading wise for us teachers. It's also instantaneous. You can see it right then and there on the devices as opposed to taking home a stack of papers and maybe 1 day or 2 days later going over and seeing where your students are. The authors also say the following about formative assessment. They say that it's carried out while learning is in progress, day to day, minute by minute. It's focused on the learning process and the learning progress. And it's viewed as an integral part of the teaching learning process. It's also very collaborative, and some of the assessments I'm going to show you can be used individually or collaboratively. Teachers and students know where they're headed, understand their learning needs, and use assessment information as feedback to guide and adapt what they do to meet those needs. Formative assessment is also very fluid. It's an ongoing process influenced by student need and teacher feedback. Teachers and students adopt the role of intentional learners, and teachers and students use the evidence they gather to make adjustments for continuous improvement. Once again, all of these now can be accomplished digitally. So I believe that it is so important, formative assessment on a regular basis, to give teachers and students the information they need to understand where the students are, what the students understood or had confusion on, and where the learning needs to go next. Formative assessment is not a one-time event. It is a process. It also does not need to be a complicated, drawn-out activity. It can be fun, quick, and easy, which all of these I'm about to show you are. The students love anything digital. I found that it could be the same assessment on paper as digital, yet sometimes the students might gripe a little bit about the paper. Yet when you do it digitally, they embrace it. And I have found this happening in my classroom. Students get excited about being assessed, excited about different things dealing academically. When you see students get excited about something academic, especially in the subject area I teach in English, it is so cool. The world of students is a digital world, and we can either fight against it or embrace it and use technology as an educational tool. My goal for this webinar is for you to have a couple of tools in your formative assessment toolbox. Grading is also something that I struggle with finding time to do at school. There's so much to do during that 45-minute planning period. Most of my grading is done at home. Using these digital formative assessment tools frees the teacher up on grading as it is done for you, and you can generate reports with timely, purposeful data for your PLCs and lesson planning. The ISTE standard that this session we're going to have falls under is the Empowered Learner Standard, and that's 1C. It's where students use technology to seek feedback that informs and improves their practice and to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. So the data that you'll receive at the end of these different digital tools will be the demonstration of the student's learning, which can then be used for purposeful planning in your PLCs. So 2 digital tools that I'm going to discuss and actually show you are Quiziz and Quizlet Live. So let's go ahead and look. So there's the Quiziz website, and then there's the Quizlet Live. I use both of these on a weekly basis, and the students love both of these. They're actively engaged as we are using these tools. Both of these tools can be used on a tablet, smartphone, laptop, Chromebook, and desktop. That's what's wonderful about them. It doesn't matter. The other great thing is that they directly link to your Google account. So you can sign up and sign in with Google. I love any type of digital tool that is blended with Google. It makes it so much easier for myself to log in and for the students to log in. So the first one we're going to examine is Quiziz. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And we're going to go to the Quiziz website. So let me get to Google. Get a search here going. Okay, we're going to do Quiziz. Okay. There we go. Now, when you go out first, and you're first signing up for it, if you're not already on Quiziz, you're going to get a screen like this, and you're going to go ahead and sign up to get started. And then you can sign up with Google, and it'll link all your stuff. When the students go to do this, they are just going to join a game because you're going to get a game code for that. Once you've signed up with Google, then you're going to go ahead and just log in. And it's already going to sign in with Gmail. And voila, there we are. So give it a minute here. Okay, so there's all kinds of ones that you can search. You can search for them. You can create your own. You can also use one, and there's a way to go in and duplicate it. There's a record of the quizzes that you've either recreated or saved. These are ones that I have saved and changed a little bit. The great thing about this is when you look for one, you've already can see the questions here on the side. So you already know what questions they're going to assess. There's a report side here that we'll talk about here in a minute. That's how you get your data. There's 2 ways that you can play this. There's a way you can play, which is you just play it live in the classroom, and it's similar to Kahoot. And then there's also one that you can play as homework. That's the one that we're going to talk about. That's the one that I use a lot. So if I'm going to, let's say, choose this one, you can do play live, and that's just like Kahoot, where you get it going like this. And then they have ways that you can even change the question settings. You can jumble the questions, which means that the order's different. You can jumble the answers. Sometimes we do this in my classroom as a collaborative thing. So if I want that like a small group working together, then I would not jumble the questions or the answers. So they would all have the questions in the same order. So if you want to play this live, then you would click proceed. And then it comes up there. So then you can share this link on Google Classroom, and you can even put that code in there. And then the students will click on that link and join that quiz code, join the game there. And then that's where they put their names up on the screen, just like Kahoot. So you can do that and get reports on that. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the homework one, because that's the one that I've really used this year to do a lot of data. I've assigned it sometimes for homework also, or I've done it in the class as homework. What I have found is when you do the homework side of it, like for say this, the kids then can move at their own pace. So it's the same type of thing. You can either jumble the questions, jumble the answers, or make them all come on the same. When you do it as homework, you set the date when the quiz closes down. So right now, if I was going to assign this as homework, all the students would have to have it done by November 3rd at 4:45 p.m., which is, I believe, tomorrow. You can change that. Like if you want to give them a week to do it, you simply just change it there. Now, I have found that this is Eastern Standard Time, so you want to make sure that 6:15 really is 5:15 our time. So then you would just click Proceed, and the students have until November 7th to do this. So you would put this code, either the kids could search that, or you could put this link in Google Classroom. You would put the game code in, and now it's live. So what I have done is I actually use this in the classroom, because sometimes if you do it, play it live, you're waiting for this person to put their name, this person to put their name, and you have some downtime. If you do it as homework, it does it the same way, where it does the memes and everything, but kids work at their own pace. The minute they log in and do that, they can get started. So you have a lot less of students sitting there downtime waiting on each other. So what's going to happen is after this quiz is done, then you're going to go to My Reports, and you'll get your data for your reports. So what I'm going to do is, I had done one earlier, and you can look at ones that are running, which is that one that we just did, or ones that are completed. So what I usually do is wait until they're completed. And then I go down here, and this is one that I took and my son took for a practice report. So what you do is you find the quiz. You can go to Download. Click here to download the file. I'm going to give it a minute to download. Okay, and so then it comes up as this data. So you actually see, it was my husband and I were playing it. So you see the question that they got, that was answered, and how many got it correct and incorrect. So that's as a class, can tell you the total, the accuracy like that, or you can do player level and see exactly how they are. So a lot of times I'll even do an on class, just do a quiz, take a quiz grade on this and use this as the grade. So it's really, really right there. You've got the report, you've got your data. You can see who struggles on different skills depending on what you were wanting to do. You could reassign it and have the students do it again after you talked about it. So you could use this data, you could discuss it in class in small groups, have the students go back and take it again and compare the two. So to me, it's a fun way for the students to do a formative assessment, and they really, really enjoy it. So that's one, quizzes on the homework. The next one is Quizlet Live, and I have taken some pictures of my students, and we'll see it doing the Quizlet Live. And I just wanted to show you what it looks like in the classroom. This also, again, can be done on an iPad, on a Chromebook, on a phone. You could do it on a desktop. The thing you want to remember for this is that the students get up and they move around. So when I'm doing this, I tend to use either the iPads or let the students use their phones, because they're up, moving around, getting in groups of teams. You could have them carry the Chromebook around that is lighter, but that's, some people aren't that comfortable with that. You definitely want something light that they can carry around. So what it does is, and we'll look at it in a minute, but I want to kind of discuss the pictures here. So what they're doing is you choose a quiz, and then you play it live, and then what they log in, and so you have all their names up, and then it will group them into random teams, and it names them by animals. So then they find like all the monkeys, they find all the pelicans, and then that's their team. So then what will happen is different people in their team will have the answer. A question will pop up, and then like maybe Mary has the answer here, but next time Susan has it. And they have to put all their devices together because they need to collaborate to get the right answer. So what you do is you project this up on the screen. It's kind of hard to see, but what it does is it has the names, and as they get an answer right, the bar goes across to the right and it shows the progress. It shows which team is ahead. But if they miss one, it takes them all the way back. So they lose all of their points. So it really, really forces them to take their time to work together and to collaborate. So let's take a look at the Quizlet website. And the great thing about it, like I said, is it's pure collaboration, and you can create your own quiz, or you can use the ones that are on there now. So let's pull this up. Here we go. We'll do Quizlet. Quizlet itself has a whole bunch of things that students actually, if you create a free account, they can go on and do study sets and that, but then they also have this Quizlet Live feature. So once again, when you log into it and create an account, like so, when you first go to the page, it'll tell you to log in or to sign up. Same thing with that. You're going to log in with your Google and link it together. And then once you've signed up with Google, up comes your account here. So you've got that there. So you can create your own study set, or you can choose one of these. So this is one that I'm going to use with my students that I found today. And so if you would create an account and share this with your students, they can practice all kinds of different ways. They can do flashcards, they can do writing in that. But here's a little button over here for Quizlet Live. So you're going to press that. And then what happens is you're going to create a game. And then this is the game code. So what the students do is they go to Quizlet.live and they enter this game code. Then all of their names will pop up on there. And then once you have everybody, you have to have 4. Then you go ahead and create the game, and it'll group them in random groups. Once they find their group, and I usually give them about a minute, I'm like, okay, find your group. And they're up following around, finding their group. And then you start the game, and then there they are grouped together. And what I showed you before with the pictures here, and then they just get going, and it shows that up on the screen. It really, really, really is fun. We did it for some teachers at our school and in a staff development, and they had a great time too. So both of these are collaborative and individual assessments that you can do in your classroom that are really, really easy and really, really fun, and the students are actively engaged. Now we have a couple of minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and share some other ones that I have used. In Google Classroom, there's a new feature called Ask a Question. And so you create a question, and then the students just type the answer to that and then submit it. And that's a great way to get a quick exit ticket as the students leave your classroom for the day. Or you could even do it as a warm-up, have it up on the screen when they're coming in and they grab a device, and maybe it's something you talked about before, and you come and do that and you type it on there, and it's just, then it's in your Google Classroom assignment list. You can pull your phone, you can do grading at home all on that, and you're not having to carry a bunch of papers home. A couple others that I've used is Padlet. Padlet is a fun one. It's kind of like a whiteboard. The screen goes up there, and the students can log into your Padlet number, and they can add comments in that in live time, and it just pops up there. So that's another one that I've used. I've used it for novels. My students, we wrote Costas level questions for the novel that we studied, and then the questions were up on the screen, and then they had to pick 3 questions from there that weren't their own, and they had to answer them and discuss them with their group. That's a great way to get some formative assessment, real-time, quick, easy. And then that one, you wouldn't even need to have a device. You could just put some things up there on Padlet, and the students can use their phones too for that. Kahoot, most of us know about Kahoot. You can now assign Kahoots as homework, but Kahoots is always a great, fun way to do that. Well, in a couple, I guess that's about it as far as that goes. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've gotten some ideas for digital formative assessment. It really, doing all of these, especially Quizlet and Quizzes, Padlet, Kahoot, they have really changed my teaching style. And I find kids getting excited about verbs, type of verbs, excited about answering questions over the novel, and that they just really, really get excited about anything digital. And I get excited about the fact that I'm not taking home a bunch of papers to grade, that I can pull up all of this on my phone or on my iPad or on my laptop, and there it is right there, and I've got real-time data to use. So now I guess we have some time for questions, and then there's going to be a survey link provided to you at the end for you to get credit. Thank you so much for joining our webinar, and I hope you have a good evening.